A very good day, class. Welcome to our lesson of useful and harmful microorganisms, which we have already started. Today, we are going to study another use or benefit of a microorganisms, that is antibiotics. Antibiotics are nothing but the carbon compounds obtained from some bacteria or fungi that helps us to destroying or preventing growth of harmful microorganisms. So initially, the microorganisms, which is usually a bacteria or fungi that is inserted into your body, it produces the antibodies that helps you fighting the harmful bacteria or fungi or any other microorganisms. Now, how this antibody is inserted into you? Yes, it is done by giving you vaccinations. So some of you must have experienced this thing that when you are vaccinated or when you get these vaccinations and doses, some of you get fever at times, right? That is how your body is reacting to the vaccinations received, okay? Because the vaccination has some microorganisms which are going to help you later, okay? Fever is nothing but it is the same mechanism. The boiling, why you boil water? Because it has some microorganisms in it, and you're killing those microorganisms by boiling the water. So in the same way you get fever. It is the body's mechanism. So what happens if a stranger comes to your house? You don't know the person, you don't know how to react to the person. But if a friend comes to your house, or if your favorite cousin comes to your place, or favorite aunt or uncle comes to your place, you know the person, you know how to react to the persons. So in the same way, vaccinations work. So even in antibodies, there are various types. For example, you have broad spectrum antibodies. Broad spectrum antibodies are such where it reacts to variety of bacteria. Okay, so if you don't know what kind of bacteria is microorganisms is there in your body, and you don't know what dosage to give at times, so during that, broad spectrum antibodies are used, examples of which are amphoxicillin, tetracycline. It's already there in your textbooks, examples of such. So it treats variety of infectious diseases. And the same, or in the similar type, you have narrow spectrum antibodies. Narrow spectrum antibodies, which from the name you come to know that it works on narrow, means selected group of bacteria. All right, so if you know a particular disease, like if you have some cold, or if you have some you say tuberculosis, if the doctor knows what kind of medicine or what kind of antibodies should be used for this, he will select it from narrow spectrum antibodies. Examples of which over here are penicillin, and you have erythromycin and various such. So I have explained over here again the same thing. I'm going to give it in a proper specific example. Like you have your friend coming at your place, your friend likes Kit Kat chocolate, you're going to give the Kit Kat chocolate to him. That makes your friend happy. And for example, you have a aunt's or uncle's son or daughter coming at your place, and you don't know that person, and you don't know what kind of chocolate the person likes. So you will try giving sweets to that person, or you will try different kind of chocolates giving to that person or such. So in the same way, broad spectrum antibodies and narrow spectrum antibodies work. We have the National Institute of Virology, established in 1952, and it is in Pune, that undertakes research related to diseases like measles, jaundice fever, diseases of lungs, and it is supported by the World Health Organization. Also, if talking about virology, means related to virus, so there are many research still going on over there related to coronavirus, and of course it is supported by WHO, that is World Health Organization. Coming towards next, you have penicillin. Penicillin is nothing but a group of antibiotics, and it is obtained from fungus. Okay, the fungus name is penicillium. Penicillium gives you penicillin. So that is the Penicillium fungus that gives you penicillin, and it controls various infectious diseases caused by bacteria like Clostridia and various such that cause nose irritation, throat irritation, skin, pneumonia, and various types of fevers. So Now, who observed this thing that penicillin was secreted by penicillin and it was a medicine? Somebody must have observed this, right? So, this all credit goes to Alexander Fleming. He was a professor of microbiology at St. Mary's Hospital. And what happened over here is that he kept some petri dishes in the laboratory on September 3rd, 1928. And while that, he observed the staphylococci cultures. Staphylococci or staphylococcus are the same type of bacteria that gives you pneumonia, scarlet fever, throat and skin irritations. What he observed in the petri dish that fungal colonies had grown in an area, and where the fungal colonies had grown there were no growth of microorganisms. So this concludes that the fungus that was growing secretes something that prevents the growth of harmful microorganisms like staphylococci. So you can see here that dish is the petri dish, and you see a penicillium colony, and where the penicillium colony, the fungus colony, is growing, you don't see staphylococci, that is the bacterial growth. So that concludes that penicillium secretes penicillin. All right. So we should be thanking Sir Alexander Fleming for such wonderful discovery that helps us to cure many such diseases. Now you have some cautions or do's and don'ts that you need to follow while taking antibodies. First is antibodies should be taken only when prescribed by doctor. Like if you have headache or cold, you cannot just go in a medical and buy such things. You need a doctor's prescription because the doctor is more educated than you, right? So don't consume antibodies on your own to treat common diseases like throat infection or common cold or influenza. Anyways, the antibodies are drugs and it has some or the other side effects. So even if you feel well, if you before completing or any course given by the doctor, do it as the doctor says. In short, complete the course given by the doctor, what is prescribed. So here we are done with the good microorganisms or beneficial, useful microorganisms. We will now move towards the harmful microorganisms. Look at the picture I'm going to display now. You see some growth on some leather bags, right? So what exactly are these growths and when do you see this type of growth more? I think it's because in rainy season. So why particularly in rainy season? We are going to study it now through our next topic. So these growth are nothing but they are called as fungus, and in fungus you have various groups, various type of fungus including mushroom, and in mushroom also you have various types of mushrooms, the ones that you eat and those which are poisonous. So what happens is they are microscopic spores. Spores are like the seeds of fungus which they secrete in the air, and when there is sufficient moisture the spores germinate or they start growing up on cotton, fabric, gunny bag, leather, wooden items, okay, or such eatable items like pickles, breads, if the thing is open or humid. Okay, so you see this type of growths happening on pickles, right? You can see this type of growth happening on bread too. So these are nothing but you can call it bread mold. Yeah, these are rhizobium, the type of fungus. So to avoid this type of fungus, you can do various measures and you can use different type of preservatives like salts, oils and many such things and keep the eatables closed. That was the type of a harmful fungus. Let us shift our focus towards a harmful bacteria. It is called as Clostridium. Is this Clostridium bacteria called as harmful? So sometimes what happens when you go to a particular function or something, there is food poisoning. Why does it happen in such times? Why does the food turn so poisonous and harmful that you start getting dysentery, loose motions and vomiting? So the bacteria Clostridium grows on it and it directly attacks your alimentary canal. This Clostridium is rod shaped, okay, like bottle shaped, all right, and this bacteria cannot survive in normal oxygen because it is anaerobic. I taught you this last time. Aerobic means it can use oxygen or air and anaerobic means no oxygen. So like bacteria, there are various types of microorganisms like virus. Okay, virus is very dangerous. It is more small, tiny and more dangerous than a bacteria. Here you have the retrovirus, which causes AIDS. All right, and this virus is really dangerous. Next type of virus is hepatitis virus. Hepa means related to liver. Alright, so this virus spreads when you eat or drink contaminated food or water. So always make sure you boil your water and you eat covered, safe, homemade food. Alright, so that's all you can do to prevent this type of virus. Furthermore, you have influenza virus. All right, influenza virus is a type of virus that spreads when you have contact with the infected person. All right, so you need to maintain personal hygiene and avoid contact with people. The same influenza virus is like coronavirus. Is like coronavirus. Why? Because these are the respiratory tract diseases caused by virus. But mind you, they are not coronavirus, they are different. Next, over here, you have measles and chickenpox viruses, and that does cause when you are in contact with infected person. So you need to have vaccinations and avoid contact with such persons, and make sure you consumed properly cooked, healthy, safe, covered food, not contaminated food, and drink proper filtered or boiled water. Furthermore, you have bird flu and swine flu, which is spread by virus, and the mode of infection over here is infected birds and animals, for which you need to consume properly cooked meat of bird or anything cooked. It should be properly cooked, and personal hygiene should be maintained. Then you have dengue, which is spread by virus, and the mode of infection is mosquito bites. So, for this, to avoid the spread of these diseases, what you should do, you should not let the water be collected in your surrounding, because in stagnant water mosquitoes breed. Okay, so you should see that cleanliness is maintained and mosquito control should be done. Then you have disease spread by bacteria, that is pneumonia, which is a disease related to your lungs. And over here, the disease is spread by droplets in the air by the infected person. For this, you need to have a proper vaccination and avoid contact with such persons who are suffering from that diseases. So for that, the person who's suffering from that particular disease, you need to wear a mask. Then followed by you have leprosy. It spreads when you have long term contact with the infected person. So thus you need to avoid contact with the infected person and their belongings. And you also need to maintain personal hygiene, which counts washing your hands, taking regular proper bath and maintaining cleanliness. Then we have cholera, which is spread by bacteria. It is a bacterial disease, and it spreads when you consume contaminated food and water. So you need to consume clean food and water. Malaria is spread by protozoal disease, and protozoa is way different than virus and bacteria. It grows mostly in water, unclean water or stagnant water that is lying for days and months in a place. So protozoa starts growing in it, and the mode of infection is mosquito. And as I already mentioned in the previous one, which is the dengue, if you have unclean stagnant water lying, mosquitoes start breeding in it. So you need to do mosquito control and maintain a clean environment. So that's all. We are done with our lesson with this useful and harmful microorganisms. And I would like to highlight a point over here. In most of the diseases, the preventive measures that were told to you in the lesson were to maintain personal hygiene, avoiding contact with infected person, having clean and boiled water, and consuming safe food. So right now we are already facing a issue like coronavirus, which is so deadly and a very infectious virus. So what we can do is consume safe food, drink boiled water, and wear mask. And also avoid going outside to avoid contact with people, because you don't know who is actually affected with the virus. So somewhere down the line we are contributing our part of share to control the virus. So that's it. Stay healthy, stay safe. You're doing amazing. Keep studying. Thank you.